Hey everyone, thanks for joining. Unique interview today. We're here with Jeff and Sheldon. They've got a little bit of a background, a little bit of a friendship, so we're going to be able to pull a bunch of things out, a little history lesson for everyone, including me. But first things first, guys, I got to ask, how are you? I know we're battling different time zones. Jeff, you're in Africa. We're here close to Toronto, so we got a little 6-hour window here. Jeff, I guess, how was your day? And for me and Sheldon, it's our morning.
Absolutely. Good morning, Sheldon, and good morning, Jason. Absolutely beautiful here. We're at about 35 Celsius, sunny, hot, obviously. And, we're getting through the summer months. It's beautiful. The only downside, of course, just like everywhere in the world, terrible COVID everywhere. In fact, Africa is supposedly responsible for that new strain that's going about. And it really has been, we're at record levels here. So everyone, you got to be careful, just like we've all been saying for quite some time. And I'm doing my best I can at practicing that, staying away really from the crowd. But I still get out there early in the morning, enjoy the sunshine, go to the gym, which is right around the corner, and all good.
That's good. That's good. Here we got a weird stay-at-home order the other day. So I guess we're both going through our COVID lockdowns in different ways. But
what do you mean by weird stay-at-home? What happened?
They're saying, they're not imposing a curfew like there is in Quebec, if you've heard of it. In Ontario, they've got a stay-at-home order where basically you should only be traveling to get groceries or alcohol, pretty much. So that was their little order.
Interesting. So one good
for 28 days.
Sorry for interrupting, Sheldon. Just one good thing here is in the lockdown that they have here, alcohol is banned. So restaurants, you can't sell it, and cigarettes. So it's been the science and the data that they've collected due to that is very interesting. So for instance, on New Year's Eve, they showed an image of one of the hospitals that would normally have, 30 to 40 people going through trauma. Not one person in the trauma section New Year's Eve. Obviously, because no one's allowed to be out and stuff, but it's that stuff that's pretty interesting. People are definitely mad about it. Restaurants are definitely upset, but it is what it is. What were you going to say, Sheldon?
Oh no, I was just going to say that I can respond to people don't have cigarettes and alcohol. I don't know how they're coping because there are the side effects of social issues here, but. Yeah, I think we're going to go into one of these lockdowns for literally 28 days. So it's a pretty extensive period. And you know what? Listen, I've been self-quarantining for a year. So I get out, I'm lucky that I have a family that goes out and shops and cooks. And so it's been very healthy for me, lifestyle-wise. Yeah. I go to my office once a week just because I have to deal with mail. I went there yesterday, but now I probably won't go for a while. And you know what? I'm very productive. It's nice. It's not so bad for me being at home and just adjusting to this new business lifestyle.
Yeah, I think there are, Jason and we've spoken about before, you mentioned the key word, adjusting. And so for instance, yesterday morning, we had a beautiful morning with our partners at Cafe Lux and our national sales director for Medspresso. We spent the morning at two particular roasteries in town. These are the top two roasteries. And we did about 5 or 6 different pours at each roastery to learn all about the particular coffee that we were sipping and cupping. And I mean, it was just an incredible experience. We're still able to do all that stuff. As long as you manage it right, you can get out, we get out there nice and early and do it before there's there's a crowd out there, but still, you try and get stuff done early in the morning when everyone else is kind of sleeping. I find it's really effective.
Do we want to hop into really? I'd love to introduce you guys. And, so obviously we're here, ThreeD Capital announces an investment into M2Bio, Wuhan, whatever. But you guys have a little bit more of a background, and I wanted to do this video kind of talking about, really why that investment happened, how it happened, that kind of insight. But do we want to kick it off with, maybe how you guys met? I know there's a kind of friendship before, also kind of a business past before, and Maybe
Yeah.
Jeff, you wanted to start, and then Sheldon, you
Sure.
can talk about some things, and we'll go back and forth.
Absolutely. I've known Sheldon now for the better part of it must be, say, 35 years.
Oh, wow.
And way back then, I was kind of an up and coming broker looking for potential investment opportunities, things like that, things I could, potentially invest in myself, private placements. And one opportunity that caught my eye way back then was a card reader deal that much like we have today when you put your credit card in and you tap it, whatever, and you pay and go. And this was a company called International Verifact. And the symbol on it was IVI. I remember it. And it was a sleeper back then. And Sheldon, his company, I believe, Sheldon, was that North American Life or one of, no,
Yes, insurance
it was
company.
North American. Yeah. So Sheldon was a VP of, at the time, investments for them, managing their, I forget what the portfolio was, but that's what he was doing. And so I saw this advertisement for this meeting of which Sheldon was going to speak at, and others from the company. And I found it really interesting. So I went down to the Royal York Hotel and went there and listened. And then I met Sheldon, listened to the technology, and I said, wow, this is some pretty cool technology. I mean, it was really ahead of its time. And the stock was, I think, 50, 60, 70 cents at the time. And we started buying a little bit of stock. The stock performed extremely well, which was great. I know they raised a good ton of money, and things were great. And I can't remember what happened in the end. I think maybe you got bought out or something, or the technology got bought out, but I'll let you speak to that. But that was kind of my first time meeting Sheldon. I remember exchanging business cards. Then I found out that Sheldon lived right around the corner from me. We got together a bit more, started playing some basketball back then and hanging out a bit more, and, grabbing a coffee at the coffee shop and getting to learn. I mean, listen, the guy's got a tremendous background, CPA, CFA. He's got a great financial background of being able to evaluate deals. And this was something that I was trying to learn myself. So for me, I was learning, which was fantastic, and also profiting from some of the deals at the time that we were putting money to work in. So it was a great thing. And fast forward, here we are 35 years later or something, and Sheldon's now an investor in our company, M2Bio, and it's a pleasure to have him aboard. And our relationship is going to be a lot larger than Sheldon just being an investor. It is much more of a strategic investor, and that will be his role. It's going to be fantastic, and I love working with the guy. I've always loved working with him. We've always had a ton of laughs doing it, and that's one of the great things about business is, if you can have a ton of laughs and make money at the same time, it doesn't get any better than that. So I'm so delighted to have Sheldon back. We're doing this thing together, and it didn't take long. We got on a call no more than a couple of weeks ago. It took 3-4 days to figure something out. Done. Next, let's keep the momentum going, and here we are. So, Sheldon, over to you.
Yeah, no, listen, it's always great to work with somebody and have a sense of trust and confidence in. And I give Jason you credit for reconnecting us, because I think it would have been very difficult unless I went to a mining conference at Indaba in Cape Town and walked around and noticed Jeff on the street. It's a low probability we would have reconnected. As for business, they say the more things change, the more they remain the same. And I'm basically doing the same thing I did when I helped the startup International Verifact, which was in the credit card verification terminal business, and we sold to the many banks. The same kind of business entry point that I do today. So I've been pretty consistent in my career. And I think what was interesting here is that Jackson, who's my son, who works with me and is really deep in knowledge in the psychedelic space, we were looking for investments, and we had made a couple of very small ones, but we wanted to get behind a company or two. And I've had a good history in biotech. I was quite involved in taking a similar role in a company called Visible Genetics, and we ended up becoming worth a couple $1 billion on NASDAQ and selling to Bayer. So I'm used to building corporations from the start up, from the ground up, I should say. But you know, this is a bit more advanced than that. And so when we kind of reconnected, we had a little reminiscing. Then we had some fun talking about stuff, and I know his brothers, so we got caught up on different things around that, and learned a bit about what Jeff had accomplished here in the last couple of years or so, and it was something that we were attracted to, you know, because you know it comes down to science and management, and those were two things that we were very impressed with here.